Welcome to our May 2013 viewer feedback episode of AnimeCons.com and the newish Adequate Studios East. But like every month, we take some time to sort through your feedback and answer your questions. We get the voicemails, emails, Twitter comments, and we talk about what's hot in our forums. And we'll list obviously the upcoming conventions. So let's kick it off with voicemail.
It's Movie Phone with your new term of the month. PMV, or Pony Music Video. It's like an AMV, only with ponies. I've just learned, and now so have you.
Wow, I feel smarter already, or dumber. I don't know, I'm not really sure. Second voicemail.
Hello there, AnimeCons TV. I have one hit for you when I see you at Anime Boston. 1, 2, squirrel.
Well, you gotta have to find us first, fake movie phone guy. I don't think that was the real movie phone guy. Let's see, so now we move on to our Twitter. So Isaac Alexander suggested some West Coast cons for Patrick, Steam Con, and Geek Girl Con. Patrick might be a little weird at that one. And we have another tweet by Erticon. Was pretty excited about being name dropped during our interview with Richard Epcar and Alan Stern. Now we got an actually really decent email of major points and stuff like that. So, but I think I'm going to pass it off to our email department.
Really? You give us the hard one?
Leave it to us to do the heavy lifting.
I know. Well, you know, it's just.
Give me back my laptop.
It's just because we're so awesome.
Probably.
Anyway, Sketch was right. We got a fantastic email this week. And it has a lot to do with that recent story about Funimation bringing a lawsuit against Anime Wasabi. Mm-hmm. And so this person decided to comment on it. And he goes, "Hey guys, thanks for the episode on bootlegs. It brings up some important information for discussion, but I think anime conventions can benefit if we get some insight from a proper attorney, because I worry that show organizers and fandom may be under the fear of God." And he brings up some good points. Now, Doug and I are not attorneys.
I'm no lawyer.
We're not pre-law students. I think I might know some, but we're not experts, but we'll try to address some of this email, but we're going to put the rest of it up on our forums. So anybody who knows some stuff about legal issues or has insights into copyright law or has worked at a con.
Intellectual property is a quagmire of stuff. There's a lot of neat and just a lot of interesting topics. I mean, the first question that we get asked in this part was, is it Funimation suing Anime Wasabi for allowing bootlegs, or are they suing one of the organizers and Anime Wasabi for making products that violate the copyright, or is it both? That, from my understanding, is it's going after Anime Wasabi specifically and the organizer because of allowing it. I don't think it was so much the production of them as it was allowing them. Once again, this is a lot of gray area, and it's kind of picking up the news as you can get it. But that seems to be is allowing the bootlegs, not producing them. Right,
and I think that their intention, from what I understand, was not necessarily to go after every con that allows a bootleg to be sold or accidentally allows a bootleg to be sold, but to make an example of a convention which really was actively doing nothing and almost being so blatant in the fact they did nothing as to almost be encouraging the sale of bootlegs. So from our understanding, that's kind of what the general situation is. The second part of his question was, he was saying that I understand it, only a copyright holder can enforce the copyright and the responsibility is solely theirs. If Funimation is suing a convention for not policing bootlegs, it sounds like they are assigning this responsibility to someone because they like anime and without an existence of a contract. Now, I think the confusion here might be that because Funimation has purchased the license to the anime series, they now control the copyright for the duration of that license. Kind of like how Marvel Studios sold the copyright licenses of their X-Men characters to a different movie studio. So if they were to use their own characters in a movie, they could be violating their own copyright.
That's why you don't see Wolverine show up in an Avengers movie or something like that.
Right.
So it's once again, it's a big gray area, a lot of legalese, but it's my understanding that Funimation holds the rights. I mean, and if you look at what Funimation does, they are putting out a lot of products under these licenses on the American side, not just importing things.
Right. And I think the important thing to remember, they're the ones taking the financial hit off of this, so they're obviously the ones that are trying to protect their investment. The next part was what constitutes a bootleg. As a dealer who sells costume parts, I get some preaching from some anime lawyers. For example, my product is a bootleg because it appeared in an anime. This is a huge gray area. A lot of dealers and sellers and costumers have had questions about this. Basically, if you want to be very technical about a copyright law, if you're recreating that, you're actually infringing on the copyright. There's really not a lot of wiggle room as far as the law is concerned. However, as far as being in trouble for it, there's not a lot. If the product is not mass produced, you're probably not going to get called out.
The other thing too, this is me speaking from my own personal experience where I built, Star Wars character, and it's very screen accurate and stuff like that. A lot of the parts that I got, these were people that I made it. I paid for just cost of materials. Like no one's making money off of that, and so that's kind of where cosplay kind of falls into. It's like someone's not really making a profit off of someone else's idea so much as the other thing. So that's kind of where professional people selling stuff get a little more flack than say an average cosplayer on the street.
And it's also filling a hole where it's not actually produced by the company. That whole thing with the Jane hats from Firefly recently, where a lot of Etsy and eBay people, they knitted their own hat, and now that there's a website that sells official licensed ones, now there's a money stream and a source. They're trying to go after people who are encroaching on their money stream. So in general, it's a huge gray area. Usually, if you're going to try to sell something that is also produced by maybe the license holder, you might get in trouble, or you might want to sell it as something generic. Like instead of calling it a Harry Potter scarf, people call them wizard scarves. But yeah, it's a huge gray area. But if you want the letter of the law, you're infringing on their copyright. And finally, are bootlegs causing the anime industry to implode?
We could do another full episode on this, but I won't say it's causing them to implode, but it does hurt them. Bottom line, you are not giving the money to the creators, and that makes it harder for them to give more, license more, bring more anime over there. So, the thing is, they're trying to make it more accessible by bringing these products over themselves, the legit things. They're trying to make, just watching anime easier by strong streaming services. So it really kind of does say, if you like it, put your money where your mouth is and support the legitimate items, and you'll get the better items.
And it's not just the creators, it's if you want them to spend their money on these licenses to import it, and also if you're fans of some of the American voice actors, you're hurting them too. If they're not going to have work, if they're not going to want to spend the money to import that stuff over. Well, anyway, this letter was from Hugo Wang Bayer, and if you want to read all of his comments, we definitely have you go to your forums. We'll put the whole thing up. It was a fantastic email, and please let us know what you think.
Hugo, thank you for this email. This was awesome. I guess we'll give it back to Sketch now.
All right, thanks, guys. So now we can move on to our forums. There's an active thread discussing the continued failure of first-year My Little Pony conventions. The latest is, on the unfortunate list of here, is the Cutie Mark Con having to cancel a number of guests due to expensive in actually getting them to their convention. But we'll have Doug and Shiva will discuss that on an upcoming episode. Now let's take a look at the upcoming conventions for the next couple of months. Coming soon on AnimeCons TV. Gail will report from Anime Boston. And Patrick kicks off his West Coast coverage with Big Wow Comic Fest in San Jose. And much, much more. And by the way, since we're doing 48 episodes a year, that means there's 4 weeks off. And Memorial Day is one of those of our 2013 schedule. There will not be any new episode next week on Monday, May 27th. We'll be back with the next episode on Monday, June 3rd. Remember, you can subscribe to us on iTunes at itunes.animecons.tv and on YouTube, remember YouTube? That site for the videos? At youtube.com/animeconspodcast. And follow us at twitter.com/animeconstv and facebook.com/animeconspodcast. And we need voicemails. Movie Film Guy, he doesn't get paid. But please call us at 762-ADEQUATE, 762-233-7828. And we want to hear some con reports from you. A lot of conventions are happening this time of year. We want to hear some reports. Call us in. Call it in for about 30 to 60 second messages and let us know what you think of the con that you're at this weekend on Memorial Day. As always, you can find conventions near you at AnimeCons and fancons.com. And remember, we love hearing from you. If you have comments on this episode, suggestions for future episodes, leave us a voicemail at 762-ADEQUATE, 762-233-7828. Or email, that's an old-fashioned thing, at podcast@AnimeCons TV. See you next week. So let's kick it off with voicemails!
Are you going to talk about how it's our new studio?
Sorry.
This week on AnimeCons TV, does Doug's camera work? Stay tuned.